this is time to re-kick the generation back into mining. All those regional rivers there are exceptionally rich in nuggets and coarse gold and alluvial gold.
Hi everyone, welcome back to our executive interview series. I'm your host, and today we have something really special for you. So, we are sitting down with Stewart Mackey, the founder and director of Shotover River Yellow Rock Limited, a New Zealand based gold mining company that's taking a very different approach to an age old industry. So, what makes this particular opportunity interesting is that Stewart comes from a third generation gold mining company, and he's returning to some of the most legendary gold producing rivers in New Zealand's history. So, the Shotover and Arrow rivers, at a time where the gold prices have hit record heights. So, let's dive into a very interesting conversation with Stuart. Stuart, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'm very welcome to be here.
Amazing. Now, Stuart, so let's start with you. You're a third generation gold miner, and that's not something that you hear every day. So, can you take us back a little bit? So, what was the family story over here, and what made you decide to come back to gold mining now?
Yes, in 1864, our relatives immigrated from Northern Ireland to Port Nelson in the province of Nelson area in New Zealand. And his father came out and established the first tavern in 1864 in Nelson called Nelson Tavern. And so what he did, his plan was to get his two sons to start mining where the gold rush had just started in Deep Creek in the Waka Marina area district, which is called Canvastown today. And they were successful miners. They actually mined only for 2 weeks with 1,050 ounces recovered. Remembering there was 2,000 miners on that particular creek. And so the father was, he saw the vision of getting them in and getting them out. And they were successful when he removed them because there was a whole lot of issues in the first gold mining era, which, from thieving to murders to all types of things. So he pulled them out and they become very successful dairy farmers in the North Island and the Waikato. And that's the beginning of our gold mining story. So I followed all the history for many, many years and purchased all the books. And then I decided this is time to re-kick the generation back into mining. And back then the gold wasn't of very high value like it is today, but we started anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's truly incredible the story you have there. Now, let's talk about the Shotover and Arrow rivers specifically. So, for our investors who might not know the history, these aren't just rivers, right? So, what makes these locations so special? And frankly, if they're so good, then why aren't they being actively mined right now?
Well, yes, good question. The Arrow, or especially the Shotover River and the Arrow, all those regional rivers there are exceptionally rich in nuggets and coarse gold and alluvial gold. They have been mined extensively way back from the 1860s through to the early 1950s. And obviously gold prices were very low back then, but they were attaining a lot of gold from these rivers. They're very renowned worldwide, especially the Shotover River, and it still produces gold nuggets today. The limited amount of operators on the Shotover River are due to permit access and surrounding regional councils, iwi, Shotover River, Shotover Jet, and a whole lot of people that you have to confide with and get consent. So Shotover River in New Zealand is the strictest and regimental river for laws and regulations in New Zealand and possibly in the world. The Arrow River is not so much stipulated by these rules and regulations, but we still have to run by the rules and regulations to extract the gold.
Absolutely, that makes sense. So now, can you walk us through that? So, what gives you the confidence that these sites can actually produce the kind of returns that you're projecting?
Yes, well, our figures are estimated at a conservative level. I have personally been mining down that region for 20 years, and it's taken that long to be endorsed by the locals. So we then have access, information, everything that no one, the public, can ever get. And it's not public information at all. It's word of mouth. So by working with these peoples in the syndicate, I've been working over 20 years on several different claims I've owned, from Fox Glacier, Hunt Beach over to the Waka Marina to the Shotover River. We do have the Shotover River and the Arrow River under a lease agreement by the permit owners. All the permits these days have been taken up. They're not available. So we're obtaining licenses from the actual permit owners to extract the gold. And that's a bit of a process and undertaking, but not the general public can just walk into these situations. It's who you know and knowing the people down there being endorsed, etc. So it's a long time of history working up to this stage where we are now today.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. Now let's get into the mechanics for a moment. So you are taking a two-stage approach here. So stage one with dredging and also high banking on the rivers, and stage two scaling up to trommel mining on farmland. So can you tell us why structured it this way instead of just going straight to the big operation?
Yes, good question. The reason I'm doing that is with my shareholders in the company is to give them an opportunity to us to mine the gold from the known rivers that we've already mined. We're very familiar of how to operate in the waterways, all the regulated authorities, etc. So it'll give the investors and the company an income on stage one while we're building up stage two, because stage two takes about 1 year to complete before you can actually start mining. There's a lot of consents and bylaws to get through, health and safety, to name a few, but there's many, many to get through. So by mining the first stage is something we're very familiar with in the area and the region, and we have all the equipment ready to go. And we actually commence our first part of trading on the first week of January 2026. So we're ready to go. And it has been 3 years building up to this stage. So stage one is to progress into the industry, generate income for the investors and the company, and then move into the major part of mining, which is a lot of work and money to do before we get to that point. So it's not something that just happens overnight. It's a process of many, many years, and then having that prior experience and knowing the right people and key people on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. We can see that you've got the competitive advantage over here with your product. So Stuart, like you mentioned that you've already raised a certain amount and you've secured the river licenses and equipment is coming from California in December. So what's the timeline looking like from an investor's perspective? Like when do operations actually start producing returns?
Yes, our first operations in stage one, as mentioned, starts on the first week of January, coming up in 2026. Our equipment arrives on the 12th of December from California, a brand new equipment, best equipment on the market. And then we start mining. I have staff already arranged, professional divers and people that live down in the shot, one on the Shotover and one close by in Lumsden. They will be my main key operator workers. I will be delegation and working metal detectors while they're actually diving underwater and working on top of the water with different equipment. And I'll be monitoring it as a structured business. So it is a business. It's not fun times. This is serious business, and we will be operating accordingly to that. That gives us the time frame to have all the consents, bylaws, and everything approved, exploration permit, everything approved for the major mining, which will be about 12 months from the end of this year, or hopefully for the beginning of spring in 2026, we'll be up in trommel mining. But we have to work towards that proceedings rather.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Stuart, I want to dig into something that's probably the biggest concern for the investors that are watching this. So, mining projects can get bogged down in permits and also regulatory approval. So, you've got the river licenses locked in, as we discussed, but stage two requires exploration permits, water consents, landowner agreements. So, how confident are you in navigating that process, and what happens if it takes longer than expected?
Good question. Extremely confident. Reason being is it's all word of mouth from our fellow members that work down there mining and trommel business right now. Very good colleagues, friends of mine. They're already up and running this season. Basically, they're guiding me through the particulars that's necessary, all the documentation. He's also put me on to a gentleman who does all the permits and exploration itself and follows all the paperwork through. Instead of going directly to Petroleum Minerals, PAM, that can take 2 or 3 years by using the agencies, only two in New Zealand, Daryl and Vivian in Auckland, that can push things through within 6 months to get your permit activated. Once the permit's activated and the consents have been all okayed and health and safety and also farmland secured with a private agreement, we're in action. So then we need all the full funding to buy all the equipment, set all the equipment up, ready for next spring. So we're actually ahead of the game a little bit, I'd say by about 1 month, and I'm frantically running around trying to get all this EP exploration details established with Daryl right now. We have put a lodgement in the first stages of that, so that means no one else can actually look at the ground we are looking to secure, which is 350 hectares and just inland from Roxburgh, about 15 minutes. Beautiful quartz ground for mining, has been mined prior but not properly, and we have even as far as gone for testing at 1 to 2 grams per metric yard already on that ground, which we're going to highlight later in our exploration stage. And there is about 20 different obstacles we have to tick off the box to actually be approved the permit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but it's great to know your passion with your product. Now, Stuart, every investment tends to have risk, and mining especially. So, equipment breaks down. There are weather impacts. Gold grades can vary. So, what are you most concerned about, and how are you actually planning for these scenarios?
To be honest, I'm not actually too concerned at all. And the reason for that is the actual gold price today is sitting around 6,600 New Zealand dollars, which is unheard of. When we were mining 20 years ago, it was $680. It was a lot of fun. It was beers in the river and getting a lot of gold. However, today we've formed a limited company. We've raised over $304,000 to date and more coming. We're looking to fund around two once we launch with our new system for fundraising round 2 on Monday next week with Capital HQ. So we're very excited about that to obtain the full funding to push this through within 3 months and get everything ready to go. We're not really concerned about anything because of the gold price, and it's not dramatically going to move, and inflation's not going to go away in any time soon with all the wars worldwide. And we do know historical data that when there's wars and inflation increasing, gold and minerals and such commodities go up. But this time it's quite dramatic. So we've dedicated 10 years to this project, and with the key people and the key components, brand new equipment, proper licensing, permitting in place, and we're just running it that way so everyone becomes successful. So we're very, very confident.
Yeah, absolutely, Stuart. You've raised very key points over there. So now, as a parting question, let's say when you're talking to a high net worth investor watching this interview right now, someone who has a lot of options for where to put their capital, why should they choose short over River Yellow Rock? Like, what makes this opportunity special? We've talked about the prices of gold as well right now, but anything else you would like to add in there?
Oh, yeah, sure. Firstly, there is no project out there like ours whatsoever. So in that respect to us, we're sealed in. We're going through exploration permit stages and we've lodged the first stage of EP. We have to go through the particulars. That takes 6 months. We've got a assay laboratory report surveyor, exploration geologist, land agent. We've got hydrologists. We've got ecologists, archaeologists, iwi, petroleum minerals, dock, health and safety, civil. So the list goes on. And with our experience and knowledge and hands-on approach in the area, in the region, we have a very good chance to be very successful.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Stuart, I have to say you have raised very compelling points for our investor audience to think about. Now, for investors watching, if you would like to learn more about the work that Stuart and his team are doing, please see the details at the side of your screen or in the description of this video, and you can reach out to their team either on their website or through the Capital HQ platform. And Stuart, thank you once again for your time today, and also for being so transparent about the opportunity and the challenges that you're presenting. And our team wishes you all the luck with your venture moving forward.
Thank you very much. And I look forward to speaking with the new round of investors. And we are ready to get this thing moving within the next 3 months.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.